We're in. It's all actions and all results. It's the business accountability group this week. Down to two because Captain Costa is lost in Las Vegas somewhere. We have not been able to contact him. Hopefully he's having a good time and hopefully he'll remember enough about us and it to tell us and tell us everything about it. Right. Um, as usual, our accountability starts with the elevator statements introducing ourselves and our businesses. Rudy, you're up.
I am Rudy Martinez. Own and operate Rudy's Health and Fitness in Long Beach, California. I specialize in clients over 40 that want to remain active so that we basically deal with a lot of their injuries and health issues, make sure they develop lifelong healthy lifestyles. And I also am teaching other trainers how to basically develop better rapport and have a better bedside manner in dealing with their relationships with their clients, especially clients that are older than they are.
Fantastic. My name is Graham. I am the founder and director of Native Speakers Academy. We are a private holistic language school based in Banska Bystrica in central Slovakia. And essentially, we do two things. We teach the English language and we offer life coaching. In addition to that, there is an aim to transfer the school from the classical face-to-face office-based system into a more internet-based world, basically. And that's what I'm going to be working on over the next year. So that's where I am and where I'm going. Moving on, we have aha moments. Let me just take a moment to disconnect myself because this should be wireless. There we go. Disconnect myself from my computer. Super. Do you want to go first or am I going to go first with our ahas?
Well, I did have the aha moment, but I do want the one I mentioned, but I do want to save that for later. So you go ahead and I'll think of another one as you go.
Because you've got so many.
I have a lot, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Um, aha moments for me in the last week. Let's start with the biggest one. I sent a message to the group on Tuesday that I would like to discuss some ideas with everyone to see if my brainwave was something useful or something useless. And what I had come to the realization of was that I do need to move the business online. I knew I needed to do that anyway, but I had this big fear or worry. And the worry was that I couldn't deliver the same quality of service online as I could face to face with my clients, or that clients would lose out, or that I would be cheating them in some way by doing this. However, after a little bit of obvious um, reflection on the topic, I began to realize that there are so many more advantages for clients who are working or prepared to work through an online based system where you can build up resources and provide a lot more materials for people to study and work with. And another great advantage is, which everyone knows already, that there's really no limit to the amount of people you can bring in to membership sites to join courses. And so what I was looking at was a simple principle of getting a site working with monthly memberships and charging people on average £1, €1, $1 a day for the course and the information provided for that month. And I think that it's workable. I think it's workable because I can provide more opportunities for contact with clients through that, where there can be some kind of daily process, daily information, and information can also be put on the internet for people to pick up uh, whenever it is they want to, whenever they have the time. And so I'm feeling much more positive about this than I was before. I was very worried that I was going to lose quality. There was going to be a drop in standard if I did this. Now I think that I can do it without that. I think I can step up to the next level, provide a higher quality of service, a higher standard of service, and I can provide it to more people. The other major problem with being a solopreneur running the business is there are only so many meetings you can have with clients per day, per week. And so the school functions on a basic principle of 5 meetings a day. 5 days a week, 25 meetings. Now it can be more, sometimes it's less. We can squeeze things in, fit things in. Some people want longer times, some people want shorter times. Um, but there is that limit of 25 meetings. But if we are looking at putting information on the internet for people to pick up whenever they need to pick up that piece of information, then clients, rather than having one meeting a week or one meeting every 2 weeks, can have the information as and when they want it, as and when they need it. It will be recorded for them as a resource that they can access through a membership site. So I am starting to open my mind to this possibility, which I think is probably because certain other people have been hammering my head with information to try to get my mind open to this for a long period of time. And I think I'm finally beginning to accept this. One of the things that this means is that I have, although I've been gaining a lot of experience, I think I've been heading down the wrong road for a while, which is providing all my data and all my information on the internet for free. And what that means is there are around 250 articles on my website that anyone can go to and pick up. And there are around 600 videos on my YouTube channel, all related to different aspects of education and personal development. And I've given it all out for free, and that's been a great learning process, but I haven't benefited in a way that I need to benefit, in a way that I need to grow, which is to have more people as members of the school. And if there are, for example, 50 to 100 members of the school, each paying €1 per day, that guarantees the school, if it's 100 members, €100 per day income, which is a step up to the next level from what I've been doing. So in terms of content and financially, I'm progressing or transitioning from a limited business model to a limitless business model if I go in that direction, which is my aha moment. So I've tried to codify it and explain it there. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it makes perfect sense. I'm glad you finally laser targeted where you want to go. And yes, I mean, the things we talked about on Tuesday, some of those things finally sank in. Uh, and yeah, it makes complete sense. And in a way, you're not having to reinvent the wheel, which you really shouldn't have to. It's a matter of just having a good product. And if you have that many videos and articles of content, you definitely need to get those out there. That's great marketing material for the new stuff because that's really what people do. They see stuff you did 1, 2, 3, 4 years ago, and then they're like, well, what is he doing now? What's the relevant stuff? And that's when the premium stuff comes into play. Because it's like with me, how I used to fix the knee 5 years ago is a lot different from how I fix the knee today. So having those videos out there of what I might be doing helps, but people want to know, hey, well, specifically, what are you doing for knees now? This is what I'm doing. So I think you're on the right track, but yeah, that amount of content you definitely have to utilize as far as your marketing. That's really going to push you forward. So uh, I'll be keeping my eye out to help you with that too, just to get that out in different ways that you may not be doing right now.
Yeah, there's well, the first question or the first roadblock that I naturally came up against is, okay, I've got my own website that I've built. I've been running it for as long as I can remember. I know it inside out. I know how it works. I can update it. I can do anything I want with it. Um, but now I need a membership site, especially dedicated membership site. And I was lucky enough to get from you the information about Freedom U, which I wouldn't have come across if you hadn't pointed me in that direction. I would have gone on the internet and received a whole, I don't know, collection of data and not really knowing where to start. So already having received that information from you is a great benefit. Then realizing that I'm now already a member of that, it's like, right, I'm ahead of myself. Okay, so that's good. And then what I did was I went to the site and I'm looking for like I'm like where to start, the content, the marketing subscription sites, and I started with one of the courses. I've got it written. One second. It's in my bag somewhere over here. Um, the course is the continuity workshop, um, which is a strange title for that kind of course. And in the was it the first in the no the, yeah in the very first session of that video, Ryan Lee goes through software options for subscription sites. So like the very first video I watched went through, do you want to use Wishlist or Member Pass or MemberGate or Customer Hub, and the pros and cons of those things. And it was a nice element of serendipity that all of these things seem to come together within the space of a day. It's the classic situation. You're hammering away at something for weeks and maybe months, not even sure if you're going anywhere, and then it's the classic aha moment. Things click in a way that they never did before, and everything falls into place. And not that it makes things easy, but it makes things visible.
Yeah, yeah,
You,
that's
you
what I was gonna say. Like you get some clarity, but because of that clarity, you actually see some of the resources that may have been around you for a while, and it all starts to make sense.
yeah, and there must have been something somewhere that something changed, something moved, something clicked into place that hadn't clicked into place before, and I have no idea what it was. Absolutely no idea what it was. Um, um, that I somehow had already, I think I've noticed in myself that sometimes I tend to decide whether something is good or bad without fully knowing whether that thing is good or bad. Or in the same sense, possible or impossible without really knowing whether something is possible or impossible. I like to think of myself as an open person and ready to accept lots of new ideas, but I seem to have many more biases than I would like to have in that area, and the the biases have caused me or caused my brain to shut down when I meet some kinds of information that would be really helpful to myself if I was able to stay open. Um, and so that's another piece of personal development that I need to work on on the cognitive side. So And I've been aware of that for a while. Now, I don't know if you remember in one of the meetings we had 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said something like that. Like, I feel that I'm blocking myself from taking certain steps. And so I think it's been a slow personal development. Anyway, what do I have to do now? Now I have to collect data. I have to collect information. I have to look at what I need. I have to look at the resources that I need. I have to look at the channeling that I need. I have to look at the trafficking situations, and I have to, between now and the end of the year, and I think we're going to talk about end of the year goals hopefully today. So I think that the end of the year goal for me will be to have a functional site up and running that's a membership site by the end of the year. Not advertising it, not expecting members, just so that I can understand how the site works and what I need to do with the site, just to clear the path for transitioning from what I would call the old school to the new school. And that's how I see the transition. And looking at the patterns of what I've done in the past, of different video series, is that the plural? I'm not sure. And courses. What's the plural of series? That's always really complicated. I
Yeah.
think it's series. I think you pronounce it the same, but the spelling is different. I think that's why it's kind of weird. I've always had a problem with that. It's like TV series or series is. It's always anyway, never mind. I should know that because
Yeah.
of my job.
Yes.
Right. Never learn. Um, Never apologize. Never explain. Never learn.
Yes.
Um, Lots of bad advice. Um, so that would be one of my goals, that I now have to have that as the end point and backtrack and or plan out the steps to get myself from here to there by the end of the year, so that I can then transfer I've got this vision in my head of a membership site that when you go there, there's going to be new information and old information. Like, I can take everything that I've created already and I can put it onto the membership site as the old school and have data already there for what was the first 10 years of the existence of the school. And then the membership I I just it's it, it's so difficult to say membership site. Have you noticed that? If you say it like really quick,
Membership site. Yeah.
if you say it like 5 times really quickly,
Yeah.
you inevitably say membership. It's
Yeah.
it's, just membership site. Sure. So anyway, um, so that's the vision that I have right now. So hopefully that makes some kind of sense to you as you have been looking at something similar.
Yes. Yes, indeed. That's the whole deal is getting online is kind of understanding the structure, and then how you can apply it to what you do. And for some people, it's a very easy thing, and other people, yeah, we have to shed a lot of things we have to let go of that we can't include as far as our expertise or our content. And just what we can put on is enough. What we can put on is going to be helpful. It's a different way of translating knowledge, and it may not be everything that we do, but it will be helpful to hopefully some significant part of the population.
And I keep coming back to the idea that I am convinced from our conversations that the other people who have these sites up and running are no more intelligent than you and me. In fact, some of them might even be less intelligent than we are. And so that gives me great hope that it is possible to be successful in in this direction, and that something needs to be done, and in terms of growth, which means both personal growth and income growth, this is a direction to go in. And I'm also positive about it because I know there are sites like this which are scams. I know because recently a friend of mine sent me some information and he said, I think I should join one of these courses. And I looked at it and I went, this this is a scam. This is just a way of doing what both me and you would like to do, but not in any real sense. And it was a life, personal growth, change everything, and the basic selling point was you can do less and have more.
Sounds like a JP Sears video.
I don't know who JP Sears is, who's
He,
or
he's
what it is.
like the guy that I sent you did the parody of
Oh,
the
sorry.
life coaching. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I forgot his name completely. No,
yeah,
of course, of
yeah,
course. Um, yeah, exactly. And it was, and there were these three pictures, right? This is me 20 years ago when I did 1 hour of exercise every day. This is me 10 years ago when I did, um, I don't know, 1 hour of exercise every week. Now this is me, and he's like looking all muscled and tanned. And he's like, I only do 15 minutes a week, and
yeah,
that it says that on the front page or the landing page for it. I was just
yeah,
what?
yeah,
What? And do people really? And yeah, it's got testimonials on it, and people saying how it, and it just says scam to me. Scams cannot anybody with a functioning cognitive
yeah.
system has to just smile and say you cannot have growth without putting the work into it, it's whether it's working on personal development or fitness or reading materials or studying or communicating with people. I don't think you you can't benefit from less unless you're already doing too much
Yes.
with that
Well, like I
with
say,
that.
if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is not true. You know, and that's what people want the instant gratification. Somebody pat you on the back, like you did something, you will improve, and that's not necessarily true. It can be a out and out lie. You know, so it's just a matter of who you're going to follow. So it kind of segues into my resources section, but I can do my aha real quick because it's not that big of a aha, but it was big enough for me.
Um, yeah, okay, let's just before you dive into that, two other quick little things I want to say about the aha moment, just 30 seconds. Um, I think I need to work on discipline with myself in all areas, and I want to get into that maybe if we have time at the end. I don't know if we're going to have time to talk about time balance, work balance, life balance, things like that. And that I read something recently about challenge yourself to release the fear. And I want to apply this because I think that is going to be important for me. And I've subtitled this Walking Through the Fire. That each time I find something that makes me uneasy, I need to spend time with it and try to find out why I am uneasy about it. And I'm sure that makes some kind of sense to you. Over the work we've done over the last 6 months, there are certain things that I am uncomfortable with, and I need to understand why I'm uncomfortable with it because there are many people who are comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So I've realized that about myself. So end of my ahas, and you're up.
One real quick one, and this is something maybe a reaffirmation more than an aha, but it's aha for me every time I reaffirm it. Just doing the homework Johnny wanted us to do, I started making, which was setting up goals for the rest of the year, was I got on Meister Task, which is kind of like Trello, and just started making lists. And again, it's like something I don't do, and it's like by making these lists, the structure of what I want to do, where I really want to go, just becomes again laser focused. Just like when you guys push me to get the whiteboard and I have the post-its up, it defines. It's like I'm like rushing down this raging river. I'm headed in the right direction, but I'm tumbling and tumbling. And then I write a list, and it's like I'm in a motorboat, and I'm controlling exactly where I want to go down that river. So it just really laser focuses on what exactly I have to do to go in the exact direction I want to go. So making lists for me, if people aren't making lists, then they should definitely try it because for me, if I'm not doing that, I really kind of wander down the river instead of heading exactly where I want to go. So whether it's Meister Task or Trello or whatever way you want to do it, making lists, and that's a big one. A lot of entrepreneurs always emphasize that, and I got to make sure that I keep doing that. That was a big aha moment every time I do it, so I have to stick with that habit now.
I was thinking about that very topic a few hours ago because I always have the same question related to lists. Now, I know a lot of people use digital lists like in Evernote or something like that. I'm not an Evernote kind of person. Maybe I need to become one. Um, but I'm a daily lists person. Oh, these things I need to do this every day. Mark it off, mark it off, mark it off until I run out of time, and then that goes on to the next day, and I add that. And I'm and then at the end of the week, I have this pile of papers, which is my list of things for the week. I kind of go back through them and maybe find something that slipped through the cracks during the week that I didn't do that needed to be done. And I'm wondering if there's any way that some sense can be made over the principles of lists in the long term. Because I'm using lists to help me focus in the short term. And I'm wondering if, because I go back through things sometimes, I'm like, oh, I completely forgot about that. Because when you're running a business, so much new stuff enters each day
Yeah.
that you can't keep up with everything. You definitely can't remember everything. And so there are maybe even good ideas that get lost. And I haven't been able to solve that problem of what to do with old lists except what I did an hour ago, which was go and put last week's bundle
Well,
in the bin.
the way I set mine up, it may help because it may answer the way that you look at your list because I may be because I don't do them, I may be approaching it from a different perspective than most people. Because I that's the thing. It's like I used to see lists like you do them. Like, okay, well, I can make a list, but I'm only going to get done what I can get done. And then if something comes up, I may have to do three other things that weren't on the list. So it's like that's why I felt lists weren't really helpful to me for a long time. But the way that I've formatted them, uh, going towards my long-term goal may help you visually, just like you were talking about when I did the whiteboard. So we can go over
hmm
those when we get to the main content.
Okay, that's cool. Another thing was that I saw that some people, I don't know, I'm just an order person. I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel extremely comfortable with that, and it usually works well for me. But I know that some people do their kind of they write sort of maybe the day in the middle, and then they write the things they want to do in a kind of in a circle around it, and then kind of pick whatever it is what they want to do that way rather than write them in. I don't know how
Yeah,
that works for
I'm
you.
I'm more of a like a column, but yeah, I'll show you what I did when we get there. One other aha moment, and this is something that I feel I'm going to probably study more for marketing purposes, is uh, I watched The Big Short again about the 2008 housing crisis and how it affected a lot of the world. And it was completely based on greed, like most of the bubbles that burst financially. And it's always boggled my mind that there's so much greed in the world, that there's people who just don't care, that they're stealing from other people's long-term well-being, stealing pensions, and giving them loans that they know they'll never be able to pay off, and they'll have to foreclose on their houses, and just a lot of greed, and it boggles my mind. And my aha moment was, I need to study this more. I again, I got a couple of books, and I will go over that in the resources. But the aha moment of trying to get my message out, but having that in mind where I'm going to be competing in a market where there is a certain amount of greed, and as far as competing in marketing, that you know the way that I advertise and what I offer and what people are willing to do or buy or listen to, just like you were saying with that scam site. Having that mindset, learning that other mindset, I think is going to help me with my marketing. So it's the depressing mindset to think I have to, go up against people that just want to sell crap to people. But just like with you, you have a massive amount of content. If people really want to look and see, well, who is this guy? You've legitimized yourself 100 times over with the amount of content you've already produced. So I want to continue to do that with me because I haven't produced that much, but I want to continue to do my little snippets on Facebook and continue to just do a lot of free content just so people see, look at my content versus others. But that's what I want to do. It's like you can join this guy's site for $79 a month, or go through my 20 free videos first. And if you feel you have any questions, you can join my site for $29.95 or whatever. Like understanding, who I'm going up against, So, and just learning that type of thing, just for long-term benefit of, because it's just a mindset that pervades the world, and it's like something I feel I need to study for me and for the well-being of my family, forward. So.
Yeah, it's the data collection element. It's surveying the market, understanding the competition, and knowing where you fit into the big puzzle of things and where you can fit into other people's lives. Also, I've had a lot of conversations about education, surprisingly, with people over the last few weeks, and I think that there's a principle that I've recognized in education which applies to everything everywhere, which is it's nothing new, but I believe from my experience that there are more bad teachers than there are good teachers. I think that when you look at schools, a few good teachers stand out, a few average teachers, and a lot of not so good ones. And this is in my experience of working in a lot of different schools at a lot of different levels over a lot of different years. Um, so much so that it absolutely completely varies just from room to room and day to day on the quality of elements of education. Um, but the more bad than good seems to be something that I've recognized, which might be more relevant to the place where I live in the world, because this is not well known for entrepreneurs and innovation and patent discovery, I don't know, being at the tip of the spear of anything really, um, and that I can assess most people into the category of psychopath, sociopath, narcissist, or just generally in a passive mindset that doesn't care about anything, and that there seem to be very few people interested in real growth. But on the other side, perhaps that's just me telling myself that to make myself feel more comfortable about not going out and doing more things to make things better or change things or try to work with things. So it's just an observation about the number of people who are interested in greed, and that's a sticking point for my brain in terms of channeling traffic to my website.
Yeah.
And it's something that you just have to get over, which is part of what I mentioned earlier about walking through the fire. It's it's the same stupid mindset that that maybe I had when I was 18 years old and I was afraid to talk to a girl or something like that that I liked. Like I would see a girl that I liked, I'd be afraid to talk to her because I don't know what would happen if they had blah 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 blah. And you just build a whole series of non-reasons to not do something. Convince yourself that they're all correct, and then nothing changes. I don't know where this is going.
No, it's true. And again, it's like you know who your students are. You know who I'm assuming a fair amount of the people in your town are. I know my clients. I know my family. But say like a Ryan Lee, for instance, who knows all the other successful online marketers, but who also has met a ton of scammers. He knows these guys personally. He's met a lot of these guys personally from all over the world. Again, and he's run his continuity summits and his freedom summit. He's met thousands and thousands and thousands of clients, customers, marketers all over the world. So uh, what he's produced, I think, takes all that into account. And I think we're just starting to learn how to deal with cross sections of that, how to eliminate cross sections, how to find our targeted cross section, but also, like you were saying, how to try and find that cross section that really needs us, doesn't even know they need us, and get to them in a way uh, that's going to make them comfortable, because there's hopefully always going to be a voracious uh, mid level group of people that hopefully we capture, and they're always going to listen to us, just like my clients, that I have at my gym. But yeah, I want to get to some of those people who are scared to death to come into a gym at all because of some feeling of inadequacy or just the fact they don't think anything's going to help them as far as their health, or fitness. I want to get to those people that are afraid to come in and have any contact with somebody. And my gym is run that way. I don't have any mirrors. It's not a meat market. Have people that are overweight, people that have handicaps, the whole deal. Everybody gets along. Everybody knows there's a certain attitude to have there, be supportive and all. Uh, and doing that online, I feel I'm going to have to wade through even more bullshit as far as what a lot of people are offering, or greedy people are trying to manipulate, out of other people. So that's what I'm saying. Like with you and your content, I think that's something that's such value, and that's something I haven't really done on a large scale, and that's what I want to really start producing uh, today. Today from here on in. So yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, and it's like, yeah, well, I think because there's so many more online marketers, and like what I've read, there's so many more millionaires in the world. I think I think marketing online, um, gives everybody more of an opportunity. Unfortunately, it gives scammers a lot more opportunity as well as the well-to-do. So we have to do what we
Yeah,
can.
yeah. There's a certain level of confidence that you build up from creating content as well, and you grow and you learn more about how to use the technology. And oh, here's something that crossed my mind. Ryan Lee's daily emails, and a lot of people in different organizations do the same thing, daily emails or every 2 days or every 3 days an email about something to focus people's attention to keep them interested. Um, and I get emails from Ryan Lee and Lewis House in that same style of format, and it's just text. And is that a conscious effort to completely avoid something that looks really nice, or
Yeah,
or what? Because you've seen my newsletter, right?
yeah,
Which could be very very easily adapted to a daily email, with a header and some extra information and some color. And do you think that's a conscious choice on their
oh
part,
yeah.
or?
There's. I mean, I can't remember the specific names. Gary Halbert and oh, there's a few, but there's guys that used to market direct mail back in the 20s and 30s, because that was the number one media format to try and advertise in, direct marketing to people. But it would be these plain sales letters, and they really worked on refining the language in these sales letters. So in the 40s and 50s, when you could make you know photocopies or Xerox copies, whatever there might be, you can add photos, you can do all these things. Well, that was a new format, but again, you get a lot of the scammers that you know you start to become blind to these types of things. Well, they had refined the language so much, because that's all they could work with, that their teachings to this day, like everybody studies these guys, and I could look them up. But that's why some of the best marketers like Ryan Lee do that. It's like it's the language and knowing how to format a sales letter, which is really what his email is. You know, a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of a personal story, a little bit of a pat on the back, a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of excitement, and then not always offering something, maybe offering food for thought, and then every third email doing an offer, you know, and that's what the salesmen back in the 20s and 30s did. Like, hey, hope you guys are doing good, at the mill. Hope all your supplies are coming through. Hope your son got better from the measles. I'll be going through your town, so yeah, I want to stop and have a meal with you. I'll contact you later. Salesmanship. Another letter, hey, it's wintertime. Hope your supplies are good. Hope everybody's well. I will see you after the new year. And then the new year comes, it's like, hey, I'm going to be in town. Um, really want to go over your supply list. We have some deals. We have such and such, for a discounted 20% off. Then he drops the offers, and I will be in town January. So it's just getting that language, and that's something that Ryan Lee has studied. Some of what these guys have really studied. Uh, Jeff Carlson, I think it is, supposed to be a real expert at this, and that's why it's plain. And that's really, and you can't, in certain ways, you can't fool people with that. Like there has to be a certain amount of genuineness to that. You know, people are going to know if you're not genuine or not, because it has to be personable. Like you have to be talking to that person, but you also have to be talking about your personal experience to them. So it's something that you can't really. I'm not saying it's scam proof, but it's probably the most um, sincere form of marketing you could probably get out there is just the written word, but in a way that really translates the sincerity of it.
Yeah, I, I want to disagree, but I'm not sure that I'm intelligent enough to do that on this
there's
topic.
there's there's a sincerity of salesmanship in it. Yeah, obviously I want to sell you something, but do you want to buy from me? Look, I'm making an effort. Like I'm going to tell you how I'm doing. I'm going to be encouraging. I'm going to be personable. I'm making an effort. I'm a salesman. I obviously want to sell you something, you know, but I am thinking of you here, here, and here, and I'm not going to offer you like some of the salesmen. It's like I got an offer. I got an offer. I got an offer. Today we got this off. Today we got that off. Today we got this off. It's like okay, well, there's definitely a market for that too because what do you got for me today? And sometimes it's going to be a good one. Sometimes it's not. But developing that relationship. Yeah, it's a salesman. Of course, he wants to sell you something, but he's making an effort to become personable to some extent. So that's what Ryan Lee does too. It's like he talks about his kids and coaching little league and you know talking to other online marketers and talking to some guy who tried to do some bad social media marketing against him and what he had to do to get that to stop. He has a million stories, and it's like it's sincere. It's like, but he's built up this 16 years of a personality that has been very congruent. Like again, just like with your videos, what I'm saying, like his content is very congruent all the way through. So he's worth listening to. And like with you, like you are somewhat cynical, and you happen to be reading his stuff. I recommended him, but I didn't necessarily say, hey, you've got to read all Ryan Lee's stuff. Just read it for like 2 weeks before you say bullshit. I didn't even have to do that. That's how good he is. You know, that's why you keep reading his emails because there is a certain amount of sincerity that's keeping you interested. There's content and there's sincerity to it. And then when you go on his site, it's like this guy's put a lot of different tutorials on this site. And some weeks people contribute to the Facebook group, sometimes they don't. But that's a lot of content for $30 a month. So he's delivering on everything he's saying. It's all congruent. And if he gives this up in 2 or 3 or 4 years, if he finds a better idea, it's still going to be congruent with what you learned about him these last few years. Because before he was all just fitness. That was his thing. Strengthcoach.com and all this stuff. You could go back, look at his stuff there. His personality's been congruent the entire time. So, and then I think the plain emails is a big part of that. The sincerity. The sincerity has to be exposed. I feel in order for it to exist on a long-term basis.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It also it connects in with a philosophy that I use with my students, which is that we're all prostitutes. Basically, we're all we're 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 all living a life in which we have to sell ourselves and our skills and our
Yeah.
knowledge in some way in order to take the next step, to grow, to survive, to wherever we are, whatever we do. So, um, so I understand that. Anything else to say in the aha moment,
No, I think we could go
or
to,
shall we?
to resources. I think next.
Okay, okay. Let's bang on to resources. Have you picked up anything recently that might be useful?
Okay, so in regards to studying greed, two books. I will mention them real quick. People can look them up if they're
Hmm.
interested. I will. The first one is The Hunger for More: Values
Hmm.
in an Age of Greed by Lawrence Shames. It's Lawrence, Laurence. Shames, Lawrence Shames, and it goes back to basically the 70s and talks about experiences in greed. Uh, it was a it's kind of like an essay on different experiences people experience working on Wall Street and different things. And I'm just very interested in the mindset of some of these people. Some that didn't care what they were doing, some that you know changed professions because of certain reasons. I'm just starting the book. The other one is Age of Greed: The Triumph of Finance and the Decline of America, 1970 to the Present, and it's Jeff Madrick, Jeffmadrick. So
Hmm.
for me, it's interesting. It's depressing but interesting to read about this greed thing because it's not something that like I said, I you know I know what value I have, and I know it's a gift. Also, what I do is like I feel I call myself a healer. I can usually helps anybody with soft tissue injury and sometimes with significant health conditions, at least with advice or where they should go to seek better advice. I don't have that sense of being God like a lot of physicians, where they feel like they have the final say on everybody's health. I give everything I can, and if I feel I don't have the answer, I'm going to tell somebody, and I'm going to hopefully steer them in the right direction. So as far as the greed thing, I just feel it's the same thing. It's not caring what about anything but the bottom line. And I think from the 1970s on, especially into the 80s, they say especially here in the U.S. culture was all about you know like like Oliver Stone's Wall Street, the Gordon Gekko character, like that was everybody's hero back in the 80s, and it's still pervasive today. Even the online guys, Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs, there's still like there's still a detachment from the consumer. Like it's the money's the most important thing. The consumer as a human being is not something that's taken into account. It's it's not a factor in how they create wealth for themselves or success for themselves. And that's been something that these both of these books talk about as far as a mindset in American culture for the last 50 years now. So it's interesting
What
to see to read.
what attracted you to that topic? Because you mentioned the film that you watched and these two books. So what
Well,
was the attraction?
I had watched the film, but I watched it on a DVD and it kept glitching, and there was a lot of information in it. So I figured, well, let me watch this again because I wanted to really understand this thing. So I watched it again all the way through, and yeah, it's just again, it's like there's been things before. Like I just get bogged. Like somebody was explaining the whole Bernie Madoff scam, the Ponzi scheme thing to me a while back, and it just boggles my mind. People would steal other people's pensions. You know, how I don't understand how people can live with themselves knowing they've stolen money from people who worked their ass off their entire lives so they can have a little bit of a quality of life the last 10 or 20 years of their life and take that money from thousands of those people. It just makes me crazy. And I know this isn't particularly entrepreneurship, but maybe this is the dark side of entrepreneurship. Uh, I don't get how that happens so much, but it does, and it exists, and it's always existed. And I'm trying to I'm trying to learn that creature, that dark creature that lurks out there. Because I guess maybe because I'm getting older and I don't want whatever I make to get swiped from under me. So and plus I'm learning about, like I said, I'm learning about what other consumers are being exposed to, what they're wary of, but what also my marketing competition may or may not be doing. So it relates directly to everything that I always do.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure. it's a topic, a subject that's at the heart of commercial society. And there's another film, The Smartest Guys in the Room, the
Yeah,
story of Enron,
yeah, I want to see that
which
one.
which goes through how in the company Enron they had floors of people working on things that did not exist, whole floors of people. Oh, you've
No, I'm
shared your
listening.
screen.
Yeah, I'm moving.
Okay.
I'm
Um,
because we're over an hour, and Johnny said he wanted to try and keep it to an hour. He just can't follow us. But yeah, I want to see that one too. It just the concept of greed just fascinates me. It, like I said, it depresses the hell out of me. But I want to understand it better when I talk to people. Uh,
let me let me give you two principles to consider if you're going through greed.
okay.
First principle, these are things that just pop into my mind as you were talking. Okay, so it might be that they don't really make sense, but let's just see where it goes. The first thing is greed does not equal having more or wanting more. That's not greed. Greed is essentially an unnecessary growth or an unhealthy desire, basically, an unnecessary growth or an unhealthy desire.
I like that.
Because having more is not a negative thing in most situations for people. Very often we need more of something in order to do more.
Yeah.
So, putting more fuel in your car is not a bad thing. Uh, and the other thing is to think about greed as one of the possible opposites of gratitude. If you think about living in gratitude, which is something that a lot of motivational speakers and a lot of people practice in their daily lives, principle of living in gratitude, well, greed would be the opposite of that. It would be living without gratitude for the things that are beautiful in your life and around about you. Because you'd be focused solely on the self and missing out on what the world is giving, the beautiful things the world is giving to you that you could return to it as well. So those are two things just to keep in mind.
Yeah,
Um,
I like the first one
you
especially. All right,
okay?
let me get this one out real quick. This is
Hmm.
I want to recommend this guy because he's actually just starting out teaching. He's been doing Facebook ads for a long time as far as resources. You could go to willirish.com, and he's just putting out his first
Hmm.
Facebook ad course. He's been working with a larger company, 22social.com, that does sales page templates for Facebook,
Hmm.
something I also subscribe to. And they value his advice as far as putting together the actual visual and funnel type of things. But now he's coming out with his own Facebook ad tutorials, and again, he's you can get in on the ground floor with him. He's offering his first series of courses. It's $1 to start, $1 a month, and then it's only going up to $9.95 after that. So it's a low entry, and again, I think he's mainly doing it just to capture his uh, first wave of paying clients, and he's so far very contactable. I got in on lesson number 2 and 3, and I couldn't find a link to lesson 1, and I actually personal messaged him, and he answered right back, and he sent me the link to lesson 1. So it's just basically it's a PDF format of uh, basically like a newsletter, and but the key thing is he does these videos that he's going to turn into a larger course. So within the PDF, he's put videos, and these videos are linked to Wistia.com where he stores his videos. So it's about 3 or 4 videos per lesson, and I just started going through them. That's part of what I'm doing as far as building my sales funnel at the moment for Facebook. So that's my second one as far as what I'm doing. So let me get out of screen mode for
When do
now.
you when do you do that? When do you go through those sessions? Do you do it morning, afternoon, evening, before work, or between things?
I don't have a set schedule because, for one thing, to explain to our large audience, I work every other day. Basically, I work from 5 a.m. till 9 or 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night at my fitness studio. So uh, I don't know how tired I will be. I don't know what responsibilities I'll have with my kids, taking them here or there. So I I need to make again a list and saying I need to go through lessons one, two, and three um, by Thursday or something, just so that I make sure I put that assignment in my face. Because, like Ryan Lee says versus Eric Thomas, I'm not going to grind till 4 in the morning trying to absorb 3 lessons if I can get a good night's sleep and shoot through all of them within 30 minutes and get them later on. So I will watch them when I feel I am at my optimum. And sometimes, yeah, I'll put them on. I'll watch lesson one, got it. Lesson two, got it. I started on lesson three, and I was starting to get a little jammed in my head with information and just a little tired. It was hard for me to concentrate. So I turned it off, stepped away, and I moved on to something else. Like this is my strategy. Things that I have to study and think about and take notes on and maybe look up and research certain things, that's when I feel I have to be at my freshest. And when I do feel I'm getting tired, what I'll do is I'll switch to some video tutorials on how to build better mobility in the rotator cuff. Something that's just a simple video, or here's a tour of so and so's hardcore gym. You know, it's like this is how they set up. You know, Olympic lifts here, their machines are there, their performance floor is here. Stuff that's lighter that I'm still gaining some form of education on, but it's not something that I have to like. Okay, so Facebook, I have to make sure I read the terms and conditions, and then I have to do A, B, and C, and this and that. So I'll basically taper down what I have. I will try and continue to learn different things, but I'll taper down when I know I'm getting tired. Or sometimes if I'm just like I can't do this, I'll either turn everything off and go work out, or I may watch something on Amazon or something else. So I don't have any set schedule, but as far as the list, that's something, yeah, I definitely need to say, okay, I'm going to do this, and we'll get into that hopefully soon because we're over an hour. So
Okay, cool. Um, the Facebook ads looks kind of interesting, not just in terms of the fact it's Facebook ads, but maybe also in terms of the way that it's presented and the style of the information. Looks looks like it's always interesting to study how other people present their information.
well, I'm curious. I have one question, and this is something that I actually want to ask him, and this is something that I think will be relevant to you. Even though he's using 22 Social, which promotes doing your own members only Facebook group, uh, I would have thought he would have made a Facebook members only group for the paying membership, which he hasn't done yet, as far as I can see. Uh, and I thought that's where he would put his content. He hasn't done that. What he's done, he's set up his newsletters on PDFs that he's put in his Dropbox, and he's giving those links out. So I don't know why he would do it that way. Like I would feel like, why don't I'm going to ask him this, and hopefully he'll get back to me fairly quickly. Why hasn't he done a members only group, and maybe not, and then set up these instead of these PDFs uh, on his Dropbox, put them up in group Facebook group notes within his site that are only accessible to the members only, so that everything's through Facebook, and you can run it that way and build a little stronger of a community. So I mean, I feel like that's something that he should have done. So I'm going to ask him about that and why he hasn't done it, and I'll let you know.
I'm always running through questions like that in my mind, like why are they doing it like that? I do it differently, you know. Wouldn't it be better to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's always nice to get some clarity from people who seem to know what they're doing, why they're actually
Because
doing
yeah, because
things that way.
a good a good amount of articles in 22 Socials database are on Facebook notes, and a lot of them are written by him. So I don't know why he didn't do that for his own site. He may just be not have enough time to do it all himself or something. I don't know. I'm just curious. So I will message him about that.
Okay, super cool. Um, cool, cool resources. Is it my turn?
Yes. Yes.
Where are we?
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
cool. Um, I don't really have much from the net, but I want to repeat something that I mentioned a while ago, which is that um, when I was talking about businesses and offices and how it's good to keep your environment fresh, to keep your thinking fresh, and I mentioned that every 3 to 5 years, I think the whole environment should be reorganized in a way just to keep yourself thinking. And it's interesting. I was watching an Ivan Carmichael. I don't know if you know
I've heard
his
the name.
his some of yeah he it's a couple of videos every day. He does a lot of top tens from successful people about the ways that they're successful, but also deals with a lot of practical issues as well. And I was watching one of his videos today, and he covered the environment that you work in is a very important concept. And the point is that I ordered a skip and took everything from my garage and put it in the skip last weekend, and then went bye bye to everything in my garage. So uh, a very cathartic, is that cathartic, is that the word, is that a word, have I just invented a word? I'm sure there's some kind of catharsis. I
Yeah.
think is the
Cathartic.
I think is what it,
Yeah. Catharsis.
something like that. Um, Experience. I kept two things. This shows you my values in life. I kept two things. I kept my golf clubs and my strimmer. So so
What's a
so I
strimmer?
don't know what.
What's a strimmer?
Oh, it's the grass cutter for the edges or the really
Oh.
really
Okay.
long tall grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what do you call that in America? Has that got some other kind of name or
A trimmer, I guess. I mean,
a trimmer? Okay, we call it a strimmer.
trimmer.
I don't know what the Slovaks probably call it something else.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, uh, so I now have a completely clean and clear garage, and last week it was just you couldn't walk in. You know what I'm talking about. It gets to the point where you just can't walk into the garage because the garage is where you put the stuff that you don't know where else to put it because you don't have anywhere else to put it. And in winter when it's -20, you just don't even go in there because probably the door's frozen shut anyway, and it's just a nightmare. But I was like, that's it. The stuff is going. I don't care. And my partner was in panic mode. Did you get through it? I said, everything I see is going. If, unless there's something you grab and take it away, I don't care. I don't know what's in this bag, and I'm not even going to look in it. It's going. It's going. It's going. It hasn't been used. It's been in there for I don't know how long, and I just thought I'd share that as
Decluttering.
yeah, decluttering, which I was doing externally, but it also kind of felt good internally to do it, to clear out the old, to make way for the new shit.
Yeah.
That's that's obviously going to come at some point, and I just I very much enjoy doing that in my life, and I'm going to have to do it in my office within the next year. Everything that you can see. It's probably gonna go. I'm just gonna take everything and just throw it away and start again from from point zero and
No, I think that's
and
good.
build things.
I mean, even like having minimalist uh, uh, periods where you simplify a lot. I think that's important. My We're guilty of that here. My wife's better at getting rid of shit than I am. And luckily I have a good friend who every time I've had to move my gym, like I can't even get the sentence out. It's like, can I borrow your truck because I'm moving and then he's like, when? Right now? I'll be right over. Comes in with his truck. What do you need? What don't you need? I'm like, well, what do you need first? Well, obviously I need all these weights, so we load the weights. What do you really need next? Well, I don't know. You need this? Garbage, 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 garbage. He's helped me clean out my gym. I've moved it, I don't know, I think 4 times in the last 8 years. And if I didn't have him, my gym would be a clutter of crap. So it definitely helps to get it cleared out.
Yeah, and even though I've like removed maybe half of the stuff that I owned, I'm already in my brain going, that was so good. I have to do this next year as well. I just got to do this once a year. Just order a skip and just take all the things that you're not even half sure about and just get them out of the way. Just get them all out of the way. And I put this off. I moved it and postponed it, and I'm not going to do it. And I've been doing this for 3, 4 months. Like, oh, maybe next weekend. And then it sort of came to came to a point, and I was like, okay, this is it. This is the time. It's going to get done this weekend. And I built it up like some big problem, and it was just 4 or 5 hours of just throwing stuff in the big container.
For the I get it now. For the American viewers, again, the skip. I guess is translated to a big trash bin that you rent, throw everything into, and somebody else carts it away.
Yeah, a big truck comes and
Yeah,
drops this big container in front of
yeah,
your house, and
yeah,
you fill it up, and then you call the guy, and he comes and takes it all away. And
yeah,
um, usually in between that point, those 2 points, you have various neighbors coming and poking their heads
yeah,
into it to see if there's anything anything that they need. I had a couple of people pulling some doors out. I had all these old doors. And people were like, "Oh, doors!" I'm like, "You want my old doors? You want these communist doors from 30, 40? What the hell are you gonna do with these old communist doors?"
yeah.
They were like,
No,
"Oh, we'll cut it up and use it for firewood for winter." I'm like, "What? I wouldn't burn that stuff. God knows what it's made of and what's inside of it.
no.
So it's a good way to risk your life, I suppose. Um, so that's my resource or principle
A
or
big, yeah, a
concept.
big trash bin is a very good resource. It does. Decluttering helps a lot, and yeah, I don't think people do it enough, me included.
Yeah, and it's the internal and the external are so connected
Yeah,
that that in order to have that inner peace, you cannot live in I can't live in this. I'm just
well,
like
no, like
looking
I
around at
mean,
all
talking about
the files and
reinventing, like,
folders.
I mean, I actually did this about 7 or 8 months ago. My gym floor is concrete, and just to make it look nicer, I paint it kind of like a red terracotta color instead of it just being the gray concrete. So the last time I did it, obviously I have to move as much stuff out as I can to make sure I get a full coat. And I looked at a lot of the stuff that I moved out, and I was like, I don't use half this crap. My clients, I don't use this with half, like hula hoops people gave me, and little dumbbells from old Sears things. It's basically a lot of crap I don't use that people gave me because they think I might use it. I threw a lot of stuff out in the trash bin, and the next day it was done, people came in, a beautiful, nice painted floor, but with a lot less clutter. It looked a lot cleaner, and everybody loved the new look. Like, what did you do? And it's like, oh, I painted the floor. Like, no, you did something else. It looks so nice. And I said, well, I got rid of that. Remember that old tire I had the high school kids toss around? Yeah, I got rid of that because we don't use it. So yeah, decluttering is good for a lot of things. Beyond aesthetics, obviously, it helps with your mindset as well.
Mhm. Okay, cool. I've also got I got a quote that I copied and pasted onto my Facebook today. Maybe we'll end with that when we finish our meeting. Just a little thing, little think about thing.
All right.
So we'll come back to that later. Um, so we've been through resources and aha moments. Do you want to give us an do you want to give us a progress update
Well, let's
on
go because
the
we're up
status?
to 85 minutes of success right now. So
Um,
let's
okay.
let's go
I
ahead.
think I think success goes to 60 and then it just goes down after,
I
after
know.
that point.
Okay, so I'm
All
going
right.
back. This is the project Johnny wanted us to do, and like I said, I did it on my meistertask.com uh,
Mm-hmm.
board, and again, it's meistertask.com. So my goals I set up on the end board here. The other ones, I just put the months in, and I haven't gotten to those yet. The four things that I want to do: one, have 20 active, meaning that they actually do post, 20 active free members in my trainer school Facebook group, and this is for trainers that are wanting to learn better skills as far as communicating with clients, thus being able to help them better and retain them better as clients. So that's my trainer school. So 20 active free members that do post on a regular basis. Um, and then I want to have four paying online clients from the trainer school. So it's not that many, but because I don't have any right now, I'll be more than happy with four. So out of that 20, I want to have at least four of them sign up, for more direct, valuable information that I may not be providing on the general Facebook group. So those will be my first four paying clients online. The second two are more about my actual facility, and this is something I've been needing to do forever: is systemize all operations at Rudy's Health and Fitness. Meaning, I should have a welcome script. I should have all my accounting organized so that if I ever got an accountant, they asked, "Let me see your books," and they looked at them and it would make sense. um, to standard operating procedures for new trainers coming in. Like, if you're going to work here, read this manual. This is what we do. This is how you act. These are the programs that we do when they first start. This is a protocol for a bad knee or a bad shoulder or whatever. So systemizing all operations. That's a lot of writing I have to do in the next 4 months. So I will see how far I get with that. Hopefully, I can get almost all of it done. Right now, it's just kind of getting the list of things I need to write. So then the last one is to increase the gross income of Rudy's Health and Fitness by another $2,000 per month in the next 4 months, meaning hopefully averaging $500 more a month per clientele and services. So what I did was I didn't add anything to these. Those are the goals. But what I did was I started to deconstruct here in September. So I did. This is where I started to do the list at. So here it's my checklist, and that's what I went over. And this is the thing I wanted to go over with you as far as what you may do as far as your online classes. The first thing was to complete a Facebook funnel that got members into the members only group using a lead magnet such as my training videos that I've produced already. So getting that funnel, which I've basically completed, but I have to refine. The members only group, I have to start adding some content. but getting them through the training videos, the free ones that I already provided. So complete that funnel, and then after that, promote it. So I need to execute 4 Facebook ad campaigns, basically one ad campaign per week, usually centered around the weekends when people tend to mull things over, and you know, usually they say have the offer expire on Sunday night or Monday night. It's like they have time to think it over, and then they have to act right away. So a weekly one where there's some call to action as far as that, some scarcity or expiration. So one Facebook ad a week for the for the trainer school, and then this is what I want to talk to you about later on too, is produce short weekly Facebook Live episodes where I relate relevant topics that happened that week and give advice and have a Q&A section. So basically, every week I would just want to get on Facebook Live and say, hey, just want to go over some things with you. I had a client come in, they're burnt out, but the thing was they really executed all their lifts well. So I said, well, maybe you need to go get your endocrine system checked, go to a rheumatologist. It made them not feel great because maybe they have to have their body looked at, but I made sure that look, you're depressed because you didn't feel you did well here. Well, you did do well here. Like go over our work, go over your workout. You did all these things, you did them great, and I know you're tired, but just go get checked. But don't feel bad about your workout because you did everything I wanted you to do. So really spot those things so that they're not looking at the gym as this mountain they have to climb, that maybe they do have to go to the doctor. So these are the types of advice that I want to give trainers, that I deal with on a weekly basis, so that they have that information. Like, okay, well, if a client did well but they're depressed, I can at least say, well, look, you did well, but maybe you need to eat better, or maybe you need to go to the doctor, or whatever. But don't throw it on your workout because your workout was fine. That'll help with your rapport. That'll hopefully help with retention. So I want to do 4 short ones, and hopefully I'll get enough people where there'll be a Q&A section and there'll be people relating more stuff. After that, at the end of the month, I want to produce one monthly live webinar to review the weekly Facebook live streams topics via Google Hangouts. So with the weekly ones, I want to use Facebook live stream, and with the one at the end of the month, I want to use Google Hangouts, where I pull in all the relevant stuff from the 4 Facebook Live ones and say, okay, look, I got questions about this, this, and this over the last 4 weeks. So let me go into a little more detail here. This is what I would do if you had a client with such and such situation, or A, B, and C. What would you do with this client if they asked you this, this, or that? So I want to start getting that content, like I was talking to you before about building up my content so that it's out there and people start to see that that's what I do. So those are my tasks for the month in regard to that. As far as getting one paying online client, is just 2 things at the moment. Through my group, offer one-on-one coaching options aside from the free content, or offer an inner circle hot seat group mastermind option. So if there's more than one person, like, well, I can't pay $150 or whatever I'm going to charge for an hour of your time. I'm like, well, can you do $25? And I'm going to have 4 other people on the call, and you each get to do 15 minutes of hot seat. So have something like that to offer the free members if they want to, and hopefully I'll start to get some paying clients that way. As far as systemizing all operations at Rudy's Health and Fitness, complete my Facebook funnel just for the gym to get more clients in. Get some printed material, basically a rack card, just a big card that talks about a lot of stuff for walk-in prospects so that they can take that away with them. And then I have intro videos, but I don't have anything featuring me. I have highlights of clients, but I don't have anything showing me talking to people. So I want to get me in some of those videos. And then just edit my regular homepage, rudyshealthandfitness.com, as needed. Just take a look at it and see if I need to do any changes on it. And then what I need to do as far as systemizing, as well as gather all client info. Like I said, their packages, um, their 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 personal information, what their packages are, their potential referral sources, all that stuff, so that it's systemized, so that I can give it to maybe another trainer that's working for me and say, hey, ask, you train this person more than I do. Ask them about such and such as far as their referral source or whatever, so that I can hopefully start delegating some things. And the last,
Can I press pause for a
I'm
second?
almost
I need to
done.
press
I'm
pause
almost done.
because no, no, you're giving me way too much information, and I want to feed back to you now before you give me the last piece.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
It's great.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's better than great. Two things, because I'm gonna lose track, because you're gonna give me something else, gonna think about something. There's so much going on. I'm gonna lose track unless I bring these things up now. Number one, an intro video with you. Ryan Lee asked members of Freedom U to post short videos of information about themselves or something that they're
Yeah.
working on or something that's important for them. You could, if you did that this week, you could add your video to that list and then get feedback on it.
Okay. Yeah, I did see that post. So yeah, that's something that I definitely could try and do.
That could integrate with that part of your
Yeah.
project. Okay. And then you also get to see some other videos that other people have done as well. I watched some of the videos, and one of them blew me out of the water. This guy who wants to do his own food show made a video, and it's just like the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, okay.
It really
All
is
right. I'll have to look at that.
stunning,
Yeah.
stunning, stunning. It's 11 out of 10, right? And and you know how hard it is to
I
impress
know
me,
exactly.
so it's
Exactly.
so it's got to be great. Second thing, according to VentureBeat.com, I just pulled this up on the internet right now, and I'll copy and paste the link to you through Facebook. Google is discontinuing Google Plus Hangouts on air from September the 12th.
Yes, I got that information. You have to go to YouTube and get a Google AdSense account because they want to monetize them more now. So they're just switching uh, how you can do them because they want to be able to throw
It's
ads up on your Hangouts.
okay. It says here that they want. I don't know how true this is. They want people to switch from Google Plus Hangouts on air to YouTube Live. That's what it says in the
Yeah,
article.
yeah. It's just a way it's
Okay.
just a way for them to be able to monetize easier because they monetize they monetize YouTube now for quite a while. So they want
Okay. So
yeah, yeah,
I was just checking you're aware of the
yeah,
changes that
yeah.
will happen.
22 socials going over that with people right now. They're telling people how they have to switch over because there's a certain way they have to do it if they're going to put it on their Facebook page um, now. So that they're going over it. So I have to take a look at that eventually.
Yeah, I'll just post you the article. Okay. Um, so sorry, please continue. I just
Okay,
wanted to throw that in there.
just to do the last one. So to increase my gross, and again make a list of lead sources from my clients and from other places, like the high schools that I donate gift certificates to for their fundraisers. Execute 4 Facebook ad campaigns, just like I want to do with my trainer school, and create and send referral links to all my clients. Basically, I want my clients, which basically are my bread and butter as far as organic referrals. I just want to make sure they have a link handy at all times to send to somebody that may be interested. And I can just put that in a text every week just so they have it. It's like, I will see you this week on Tuesday. By the way, here's a link to send to your friends if if anybody's interested. Just always kind of keep that, you know, keep it there because they know that I basically work off referrals a lot versus cold leads. So uh, they just don't think to because I have clients that I've had for 10 years. They're like, what's the domain of your website? You know, it's Rudy'sHealthAndFitness.com. Oh well, that makes sense. It's like it's not in their head. So I'll just want to send them the link so they have it in their head, just to keep it in mind, when people ask or whatever. So that's just a few things. And as far as what you were saying before, as far as your list, well, these are all my lists, and it gives me how many things that I've executed. 0 out of 4 for this one, 0 out of 2, 0 out of 5. So I can keep up to date with that. But this is the larger these are the larger things I want to do by the end of the year, broken down for September. So they're not going to be a stack of lists that I did uh, months ago, and I have to kind of go through them. Like they're going to segue. Okay, how is this one going to evolve for October? If I didn't get my 5 active free members, I have to go through my list. Maybe I have to do some new things on my list or add things. Just add things or take things off. Um, and basically, these are my 4 goals. I'm going to move them into October, see how I did in September, and then just refine what I do with my 4 major goals for the rest of the year as I go through each month. So that's how I'm using that tool, and I can get out of screen sharing right now. So that's all I have to show you with that. And Johnny, I actually did my homework, just like we suggested to do last meeting on last Thursday. So the listing, that's where it became really helped me focus on what has to be done in the next 4 months.
That was a fantastic presentation, and I see that you have been working much harder than I have been working over the last week. I'm blaming the holidays myself. Nothing to do with me. It's all out of my control. Not. Um, but there we go. No, that's very clearly organized, very clearly explained, and very clearly on the right track. So it's very, very impressive, and it's going to be so easy now to call you out on anything you haven't done,
Exactly.
because it will be highly visible in the progress on that chart there. Just to add to what you said, one of my one of my favorite quotes that I regularly hear from students is, "Oh, you have a website?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, you have a YouTube channel? Oh, you have a Facebook page? Oh, you've got 2 legs and 2 arms." So that always surprises me, especially as students get the newsletter, and the newsletter informs them clearly of all these things. And there's enough information around the office as well to remind students that these things exist. There's even a giant monitor over there that you can't see that has the school website on it. So when people come in and sit down, there's a giant school website sitting in front of them.
Wow. Do you do do
And
you use Facebook as far as marketing right now? Like just putting up posts and having your students be friending your students basically so they can see what it is you're posting.
absolutely, I make it a point to post at least one thing related to education or the school or courses every day on the school Facebook. And as I have created thousands of resources, every now and then post an old resource which is still extremely relevant to the students. So I make it a point of posting something every day on the school Facebook site, um, which seems to me perfectly logical. Um, of course, um, I don't know why other people don't do something like that. Because for me, as I said earlier, we're all prostitutes, right? So everything we do is kind of an advertisement for everything we are, and vice versa. Um, so so that's kind of what all of that is. Each time I learn that somebody might be interested, I add them. Uh, I add them to my page, and if they if they add me back, then I send them a link to say, hey, there's a school page. Why don't you join and get information there? So I'm constantly feeding people through my personal page into the school's page as well. So so yeah, I do that. I haven't got to the point of advertisements yet. I see that as a process or a step that I will take at some point next year, but not at the moment. There are more fundamental problems that I need to solve first in terms of operations of everything. Um,
Well, you said
so
you're maxed out with students. So I don't think you necessarily have to do Facebook ads
I'm
if you're
I'm
happy.
not going to be maxed out with students in the new term because of changes to the payment systems. That old students will keep their old system until the end of the year, but new students will be on a completely new system. And I don't know how that's going to affect new students coming in. I don't know if because normally the new students coming in top up those who fall away or fall off naturally. So so I don't know how people are going to react to the new terms and conditions that they're going to meet. Hopefully it'll still be 100% capacity, but I don't know. I'm also thinking about changing the hourly organization of the school, which is it's I say the school's open from 8 to 8. Um, but now I'm thinking of doing a system which is 7 to 9. I'm not going to be in the school 7 to 9, but I want to block time through my week in terms of periods of 2 hours. I want each day blocked into periods of 2 hours, and that gives me an extra 10 hours a week in which to work on things like personal development, growth, and marketing. I don't have to be in the school, but I want to be focused on doing something for the school, um, or for my own personal development, which then feeds into the school. So I also have this other thing that I mentioned earlier, which is the work family time balance. I seem to be either all in work or all in family, and balancing the time between those two things is is a little bit complex because when I'm at home I can't get any work done. This is just pointless. I got 3 kids running around. I got a partner who needs attention, and we need to solve lots of things that we need to do, and it's just mental trying to do any work at home is impossible. It's absolutely impossible. Um, so I got to solve that as well somehow and get the balance right. Um, what else is going on? Things that I've done. I've started to do the research. I'm going through the videos to collect data and information. I'm going to build up that information, and I need to make my plan over the next week for where I want to be on the 1st of January next year, in terms of starting the next stage. And as I said earlier, I see it as a transition from the old school to the new school.
So well, hold on, hold
Um,
on, hold on. So I did my homework. You're planning to do your homework, And Johnny, who proposed the homework, didn't even get on the call this week. I'm just saying, I'm not guilty of not doing the homework, so I feel good about myself. Because I'm usually the one that doesn't
I
do
think
it.
that you. I think you're setting a fine example for us. That's no reason to take a step back over the next few
No,
weeks. You need
I got my
to
list, so yeah, I know what I gotta do.
you need to lead by example. I made a subconscious choice to not do that this week and have a family week this week, which um, is not is not in any way improving the prospects of being successful in long-term goals. But never mind. Um, I think that oh, well, I know what's coming. You see that this is what I'm looking at. I know the new term is coming, and I know that when the new term starts, that's it. It's the end of free time. So
Have
I'm
you
trying to squeeze everything out at the end of
have
summer.
you I suggested this before, and I don't know if you've done anything yet. Have you thought of requiring that some of the curriculum your existing students have be done on online so that you start to build some experience working with online procedures and bugaboos and everything else that's going to come up before you really settle on marketing completely online to somebody? Like you have a whole group of clients that you could, field test and say, I want this done online. I want you to I posted a video. I want you to watch it. I want you to write an essay and post it as a note on or something. Just something that you feel you're going to do as part of your curriculum. Or some type of requirement so that they have to do it. Um, or like with some of them, you may even be able to use it as a marketing tool. Like, I know you drive, you know, 2 hours to get to my very valuable information. Let me make it a little less of a task. Let's do one of our main lessons online, and let's do a face to face, and something like that. So you're testing out your media, your Skyping, your lecturing, your assignments being turned in, something, or or having them video themselves speaking English or whatever you give them tasks to do as far as carrying on a conversation in English. Just different types of things that they have to do, but have to do online so that you start to build your experience that way.
I have done some things like that. I'm not going to go through them all because they're kind of irrelevant. The way I see it is that I can only really experiment with that once I have uh, what's the name for it? That a new website. What do they call it? A membership site. Once I have a membership site up and running, I can have people enter the membership site and use the resources within the site and then give me feedback on what is working and what is not working there. So that's something I see happening from the beginning of next year. I have been encouraging students to take Skype sessions rather than come to the school. It works for some, it doesn't work for others. It seems to me that some people don't want things to be easier.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
they've got they've got their vision of how things work for them, and that's one of the things that I try to take on board is their vision, their ideas, their perspectives, which might be different from mine. And even though it seems perfectly logical to us to use the digital medium, there are still a lot of people out there who can't hold more than one idea in their head at a time, and they're slightly behind the rest of the world. um, and so it's it's difficult with that part. I don't know how to say this. The people who need help are already behind. Which has its own complications.
Yeah.
Right, those who don't need the help don't need the help for a reason. And so the kinds of people that I'm dealing with are still interesting in terms of the fact that everybody's different. That the age ranges are different, the needs are different, the levels are different, and maybe you've noticed this with fitness. Most people sabotage themselves.
Yeah.
That's the whole first half of our meeting. I think was partly about that
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I was talking about that earlier. The most and it's the same in learning, that where I set up a system, a structure, and I tell people, okay, if you do what I tell you to do, everything will be okay. I guarantee it. But if you don't do what I tell you to do, I cannot be responsible for for the outcome. And so there are a lot of people who I'm very happy to work with, although they don't do what I tell them to do. And so they sabotage themselves, and they know they do. And maybe a way out of this problem is the transition that we were talking about before, about me putting the information online and saying it's there. It's up to you. It's there. Everything is there. Um, use it, abuse it, choose it, but
Yeah.
do something to take advantage of it all. Um, and I think one of the things that I can see happening is that I need to motivate the people to get them to use the information, which was part of my problem with the Freedom U information, that there's something interesting here, but how do I get myself motivated to get myself into the media? And that motivation is everybody's problem. It's the one thing that and the fact that we're all everyone I deal with, most of the people I deal with are busy. No, everybody I deal with is really busy in their lives. Some of them with not really very important things, but they're all really busy. And so time is an issue for them. I don't know. I'm building something new from my
Yeah.
side. It might not be new for the world, but it's definitely new for me. So this is an interesting experience to go through. Um, so with what I'm doing now, I know I need to do more research. I need to put out a bit of promotion for the new term. I want to do a few more live videos. Um, I want to write a new article and get it out and up and onto the website, but that's going to take me a month to get that finished. Um, and I'm working on changes to the term timetable in order to create extra blocks of time for me specifically to work on things, rather than having I had time which wasn't dead time. I used it, but I used it for whatever I needed to do at that point in time. It wasn't constructively used. So I need to be more self-disciplined in terms of constructive time to take steps, and part of that is making the plan that you made, and I have to do that over the next week as well. Anything else that's on your mind?
No, I'm done.
You're done. Okay, that's super cool. Um, Lewis Howes, who I follow, sent out. Oh, look, there's a message from Johnny on Facebook. I was just gonna.
What do you say?
He says. He says, been losing in gambling.
He's not a happy camper.
But need to think with a growth mindset. Wasn't able to be on call. There you go. There we go. Gambling is far more important than developing your business strategy at this moment in time. There we go. Hopefully he didn't lose everything. I mean, that would be a bit of a
Oh, okay.
bit of a
Well,
loss.
yeah, well, at least he's
Right.
alive, as far as we can
He's like crawling on his hands and knees down
tell.
the road, but still alive. That's fine. He just needs to get back on his tractor.
Yeah,
That's all. Uh, Lewis Howes sent out an email similar to what Ryan Lee does, and I'm going to quote from it. He says that when we focus on ourselves, we tend to suffer. We think about everything that isn't working and what we don't have. When we focus on the world and other people, our connections with one another, we enter a more beautiful state of mind. We feel love and gratitude. Sure, it takes practice and dedication, but perspective really does make all the difference. So if you're having a frustrating kind of day, remember, you have a choice in how to look at it. And I know that we've talked about very similar elements before, and I just thought it was nice that he was reiterating some of the things that we have discussed with our work. And I think that Lewis Howes is friends with Ryan Lee as
I
well.
think Lewis House is friends with everybody. I think he, again, I haven't looked at a lot of his stuff, but I know he was a big Tony Robbins guy for a while. Um, I think he's genuine about his pursuit of what he's doing, and I think he understands he has to be genuine. The guys that I think really are successful, I think, are genuine to a point, And again, it's in the end, it's like they're selling their wares. It's like, and to be that consistent all the time with enthusiasm for other people, uh, I'm sure, when I'm tired, I mail in a couple hours of like, okay, you guys just do this for 15 minutes, and then that for 10, and then this for 5, and then we can all go home. I'm guilty of that myself. So, I have passion for what I do, but yeah, the consistency, I think, the consistency over years, I think, was what really legitimizes somebody, as far as their passion and interest.
Yeah. Well, I think that he is up to 360 episodes of his
Yeah,
podcast.
so
Where each one is an hour-long interview with someone who has been successful in some area of life about their process and their success. So I think that he has built up that that element. He's also one of the best interviewers I've ever heard,
yeah,
um, in terms of getting answers from people, not just talking around subjects or just being nice and polite about things, but really getting down into the the motivations behind the actions in a person's life. He's very good at it, and that's what you expect after 360 interviews. You expect him to develop to that level of greatness. Um, so that's nice. Oh, new member. I watched your discussion, and listened to your discussion with what's his name? I've forgotten his name.
Amadeus.
I should remember that, shouldn't I? Mozart. Okay. So, I see no reason why we cannot try to add another person into the group as long as everybody says yes. Does that make sense
Yeah. Yeah.
to you? We need we need fresh blood to survive. I'm running dry with my present supply.
You're
So,
you're in the right part of the world to be speaking like that, I guess. Yeah.
welcome to my castle. Please come in. Would you like to sit down? Hmm? Something to drink? Hmm. Yes. Actually, Orava Castle, which is this must be about an hour in a car from here. Jump in a car, drive north for 1 hour. Orava Castle is where they filmed Nosferatu.
Wow.
It's the castle where they filmed that. And it still looks exactly the same as it does. A giant, scary place. Also, Bathory's castle as well. So it's about 2 hours from here, where Elizabeth Bathory, she killed the virgins and bathed in their blood and so on. That's 2 hours from here. I could go. I could go on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
Could
wow.
go on with the
Wow.
horrors. Yeah. What's that? Wasn't Tarantino wasn't Tarantino did Hostel or something about a group of did Tarantino do that
He
film?
did
Maybe
a
he
he
didn't do
did
that
a
film. Maybe it was.
vampire type of movie. I can't remember.
Oh no, that was from Dusk Till Dawn with Clooney.
Yeah.
No, that
Yeah.
or was that? Okay, no, there was some horror film set in Bratislava about I don't know whatever else is. I don't know why I'm talking about horror
Yeah.
films. I don't know. New Blood.
Yeah. New Blood.
Okay,
Yeah.
fresh. New blood, fresh meat.
Yeah.
Yes, we need someone to grill. Hmm?
Yeah.
Hmm? You guys need someone to poke. No, I was listening. I was listening to your conversation with him, going, hmm, hmm. Yeah, because he kept saying, "Well, I know I need to do that, but then this," and you were like, "Well, why didn't you do that?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I did this, and then, well, and you were like, oh, and your employees are like, well, yeah, no, I don't have any because I don't have any clients." And just,
Like, okay.
yeah. Oh dear. It's um I have this selfish perspective. I'm sure it's selfish. Uh when I'm looking at people with things built up and great opportunities ahead of themselves and they're just kind of pissing on pissing on it
Yeah.
instead of working
Gives
on
some
it.
direction, but like he seems pretty proactive. Like he's like workouts. He wanted to know some stuff from Matt Temby, and we talked about that. And then the entrepreneur group he's tried to put together. But yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is he had too many people coming in, and then nobody because you know. And it's interesting. Jackie was in it there for a while. I don't know if you did you catch that part of the oh?
Oh, the whole thing. I watched
So
the whole
you
thing.
didn't mind
Yeah.
how I described your confrontation with Jackie? I was trying to be uh I was trying to be I didn't want to scare him, put it that way.
I thought that it was very bedside manner the way in which you just the way in which you just described it. It was the most sensible and polite way to describe a conflict I've probably ever heard.
That's
Yes.
quite a compliment.
Um, and there's nothing that I would there's nothing that I would contradict you on about it. I think you were very accurate in your description.
Yeah.
So um,
Well, just the
so
fact.
then I don't want you to be accurate, by the way, but you were.
Yeah. Well, he's still a active member of BU, and Jackie is, and Johnny is and whatever. I kind of have a feeling that my my quitting some of the or stepping out of some of the chat groups and de-volunteering from fitness coaching, and I I know some of the members that I used to talk to don't really contact me anymore, so it's like whatever. So it's just there's definitely a culture there, and word gets around. So and so is not cool with so and so and all that. It's like any tribe. So I don't wanna damage anything for Johnny. Like I don't care what they say for me, but I don't think Johnny cares anymore either. He didn't even want to go to the BU meeting in San Francisco. So I think he's over it
Mhm.
himself.
Um, yeah, I can't see anything new about it. Everything that I said before stands, and everything that I've heard just
Yeah.
furthers my self-belief that I did the right
Well,
thing for me.
I haven't gone on the
Um,
news. They said they revamped the actual website. I haven't even looked to see as far as resources, but whatever. It's still the same to a point.
Johnny had the best criticism that I heard, which is, why are they charging us when we're providing all the content? I mean and that's in terms of we the the, the members were feeding in
Yeah,
everything, apart from the TGIMs and
which
um
are free.
yeah, which proves
Yeah,
Johnny's point.
like and that they're not even part of the BU site. So that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, yeah. So at least, and you made this point very clearly, that with Freedom U, they're actually teaching you new skills, not just telling you that you can achieve whatever you want to achieve.
Yeah, exactly. There's
Um,
not,
and we all need to
yeah. I
hear
mean, there's segments on
we all need to hear that.
like there's segments. There's a but he breaks it up into segments. Ryan Lee, like these are case studies. you know. So you can see somebody talking about themselves, and sometimes it's interesting, and sometimes they're very repetitive. But then there's nuts and bolts of how to do this, that, or the other thing. So I think for the what you're getting, I think it's great value. Like I said, $30. There's no tiers of platinum member, gold member, bronze member. Just everybody. This is it, and you get all the content. You know, And I think Ryan Lee, like I said, he's been up and down the mountain a few times, and he's met a lot of different people. So I think he feels, and it really is the Netflix of online marketing. It's one it's one fee for everything, and it's in a format that you're adding content every week, and he's gonna see, like, we'll see how long of a run he has on this one. But like I said, every other website he's put out there has had quality to it. Like I said, I can't remember the name of the one I was in for a while, and it was expensive. I think it was it was $50 a month, and it went up to $100 a month. But I stayed at the $50 tier. But it was still all the same level. Everybody got all the content, uh, and unfortunately, I didn't become a millionaire like you said I could possibly be. But that was on me because I wasn't going through all the content. So.
Yeah, well, skills.
Yeah,
You need to learn new
yeah,
skills to progress, and that's what you get in once you've mastered the personal discipline, you don't need BU anymore. um, then what you need are to improve your
Yeah.
skills. And so that's where Freedom U comes in. And once you've got those skills and you've got your business up and running, that probably becomes superfluous. And you probably need to get onto some kind of management organization and training platform, maybe Michael Hyatt's system, for example. So I imagine that there's a progression of what you need at different stages of your development. And so I imagine there are people who have used the systems in Freedom U and have probably got as much as they can get from it and have moved on to something
Yeah.
else. And I think that's natural. It's a natural part of the
Well,
process.
it's
So
an entry level thing, and they've gone over this before. It's a low level entry, $29. If you're successful, you're partly going to be successful because you're talking to some of these people that are successful, and then you're going to go up to a different level of, am I now going to go to these mastermind groups in Jamaica and this and that because I am successful. I'm now making thousands of dollars. I'm going to invest into that more. Okay, and then it goes to the 10,000 mastermind group, and that's something Ryan Lee has kind of criticized to a point, saying some of these guys have these levels, and sometimes they just think they're not trying to get you to be successful on the first level. They just want to entice you to do the $100 a month thing, and then they want you to do the $3,000 weekend, wherever. It's like they're not particularly interested if you're succeeding or not. And I honestly think he was at that point at one point in his career, but he's trying to develop, I think, a larger sense of longevity within his own personal career. So I think he's really backed off that, and he still will do his one email a day, but he's really cut down on mastermind groups and all that stuff. Like he's I think making more money than he ever has with Freedom U, and he's just getting people that hopefully are legitimately interested and can afford going to his mastermind or hot seat thing, whatever he wants to do, and not just doing it as part of his industry. So
yeah, I would concur with that perspective on things. I need to get deeper. I mean, in the back of my mind, I've got this the perfect goal, which is I want to spend an hour every day on that site checking out some piece of information that's there and making some notes. And at the end of the day, I don't think anybody really bothers about going to the next level and paying more if they're getting some benefit from it and they're at that level. If you need to go away to Jamaica and you've got the money to go and do it, then where's the problem? You've worked to get there, and the only way to get better is to spend time with people who are more intelligent and more
yeah,
knowledgeable than you. And you can't do that by sitting on your ass. You've well, I guess you could through the internet, but you really want to get out and you want to be in a room. If it's the old saying, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong
yeah,
room. So so there's and that's that's I guess that what I'm looking for in everything that I do is that kind of situation. I'm like, what are these people talking about? What is that? How does that work? Huh. Okay. Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah,
So I don't want to be like, oh God, not the same. I know all that shit. God, gave that up years ago. It's just like going out and drinking beer with the same people every evening. It's fucking
yeah.
pointless, right? Um, so uh, so about adding a new member, if Johnny says yes, then I'm happy to bring someone in. I would like to hot seat them first in a short session before them taking part in a whole complete long session, as the hot seating as an introduction, where the three of us could quiz him on his business and reason for doing things, and talk about what we do in the group with him, rather than bringing him into a meeting and having a whole meeting.
Yeah.
I think there should be an introduction session first, the sort of short half an hour Q&A where he can talk about his business and we can maybe suggest a few things to him that maybe he has thought about, maybe he hasn't thought about, and then after that he could come in. Or what we said before was to shoot a short video to introduce yourself. I don't
Well,
think
he
we need
he
to
did
do
that. He did. I
that
mean, I
with
felt
him.
like that's what he did with me. Like he came on, he was okay with it being recorded,
Okay.
and that's
Yeah.
what he realized too. He's like, yeah, all these people want to do this, but they don't want to do a video chat at all. And it's like that's my criteria. It's like if anybody's interested, I say let's do a video chat. If they usually they will not respond after that. And I said you were one of the few people who did that. And the guys that I'm with on now, like Graham, was ready to go that day when we suggested it. I said, so that's the type of people we need to be proactive, that are going to be responsible and not just fade out. I said with Jackie, I think it was just a personality thing. She was a little reluctant because she wouldn't go on camera for a while, but we got her to overcome that. That was
Hmm.
our, legacy for her. Hopefully, she'll thank us on some some class or some plaque or something someday.
She will thank us if it's on her
Yeah,
script.
yeah.
Let's let's just put it like that. Right. Uh, oops. Okay. All right. Dude, it's done. I would once again like to apologize for going slightly over the 60 minutes of success time limit that we set for our session. I think we covered a lot of things in depth. I think there's a lot of useful information there. I think in 20 years' time, when we look back at this, we'll be so proud of ourselves that we went through all of these things together. Um, 60 minutes of success coming to a conclusion. Any final thought?
Uh, no, I'm exhausted with inspiration. But could you please, when you're editing, if you could just do a clip of my homework so that Johnny can refer to it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I will make a note for
Just
myself.
just so
Edit.
that I can say
Uh,
I did my homework. This is what you wanted. I did it, and I will be waiting to see both of yours next Thursday.
okay. It it shall be done. It shall be done. Um, shall be done along with many other things. This concludes our session for today. We will focus on our work and get the things done we need to get done, grind away, and meet up again at the same time in the same place next week to get done for today. Cool. The video will be chopped there, and I will edit out your um, your homework session. I might also make a little edit of Johnny in Las Vegas. That's just that because I have the session recorded from
Tuesday.
from Tuesday. So I might take a 30 seconds or 1 minute out of that of Johnny in Las Vegas just for fun because he was uh, uh, so happy to be out in the
Yeah.
sunshine there doing his thing, and I thought it was nice. It's nice to see somebody somewhere, just taking a break and getting their rewards for the hard work that they've been putting into their business, even if he did lose all his money gambling. There we go. Uh, hopefully that's all he lost. Right. Right. Uh, um, what else is going on? I don't know. I'm exhausted with inspiration too. I'm going to shut everything down, go home, and probably spend the evening walking around the house, standing on pieces of Lego
Yeah.
and
I
broken toys.
I know how that is. I know how that is. All right.
Yeah, I might get some sleep tonight, as last night it was bed hopping night for the
I've been there
kids.
too.
Every
I end
Yes,
I
yes,
end up
isn't
on
it?
the couch half the week anyway because it's just that's the safest place to be.
Yeah, I've got that in my sort of kind of plan. I'm like, I'm just gonna crash out on the
Yeah.
couch and not worry about anything else, and let everyone else fight over the beds. It's
Yeah.
not my thing. Super cool. I wish you a great week with everything happening for you. And if you get any sudden thoughts or inspirations, keep in touch through Facebook, and we will put all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Okay. Take care. Enjoy your evening.
Yes, you too, mate. Speak to you soon.